The storm had already erased the road when she found him. Snow fell thick and relentless, swallowing the forest in silence, the kind of silence that pressed against the ears and made every breath feel loud and fragile. Alara had lived near the northern woods her entire life, long enough to respect winter and fear it in equal measure. That night she had gone farther than usual, following the broken tracks of a wounded deer, when something dark beneath the snow caught her eye. At first she thought it was a fallen log, half buried and forgotten. Then the shape moved, barely, a shallow rise of a chest, so faint it could have been the wind. She dropped to her knees, brushing away snow with frozen hands until a man's face emerged, blue-lipped, skin pale, eyelashes crusted with ice. He was alive, but only just. Panic threatened to paralyze her, but instinct took over. She dragged him inch by inch, using a rope meant for hauling firewood, whispering encouragement to a man who could not hear her, refusing to let the cold decide his fate. By the time she reached her cabin, her arms burned and her legs shook, but she did not stop until the door slammed shut behind them and the storm was locked outside. Inside, warmth crept slowly, stubbornly like hope. She stripped the frozen layers from his body, her hands trembling not from modesty, but from urgency. His clothes were foreign, thick wool, military cut, unfamiliar to her simple life. She wrapped him in blankets, pressed warm stones to his chest, rubbed life back into his limbs until her arms ached. Hours passed before his breathing deepened, before the blue faded from his lips, before she finally allowed herself to sit back and breathe. He did not wake that night. He hovered between worlds, between life and death, while Alara watched the fire and wondered who he was and why the forest had nearly claimed him. Days passed. The storm eased, but the cold remained. Alara fed him broth by spoon, cleaned the cuts on his hands, stitched a deep gash along his shoulder without knowing how he got it. Sometimes he murmured in his sleep names, commands, fragments of places she did not recognize. He thrashed once badly, eyes flying open, breath sharp, hand reaching for a weapon that was not there. She soothed him until the fear drained from his body and he slept again. When he finally woke fully, he stared at her as if she were a dream he did not trust. He asked no questions at first. Neither did she. They existed together in quiet necessity. He healed slowly, strength returning to his limbs, color to his face. He said his name was Aaron. Just Aaron. No surname, no past offered. She did not press. Some stories, she knew, came when they were ready. But the forest had eyes, and so did the world beyond it. Alara noticed things. The way Aaron scanned the tree line when he stood outside, even weak. The way his posture changed when distant hoofbeats echoed through the snow. The way he flinched at the sound of metal striking metal. Once she found strange markings etched into the inside of his coat, symbols of rank. Though she did not know it then. Riders passed near her cabin one afternoon, their voices carried by the wind. Aaron froze, face draining of color, hand tightening around the table edge. "Do you know them?" she asked gently. He shook his head, but the lie sat heavy between them. That night he stood at the window long after the fire burned low, staring into the dark as if expecting it to stare back. Alara felt something changing, something stretching beyond simple gratitude. She had saved his life. Yes, but he had filled the cabin with a presence she did not know she had been missing. Laughter returned, quiet and rare. Silence felt shared instead of empty, yet unease crept beneath it all, like a crack in the ice that could split without warning. One evening, as snow began to fall again, Aaron looked at her with a weight in his eyes that made her chest tighten. He opened his mouth to speak, then closed it. "If people come," he finally said, "you must say you found me already dead." The words chilled her more than the storm outside. She wanted answers. She wanted truth. But she saw fear there, raw and real, and she nodded. Because whatever he was running from, it was powerful enough to nearly kill him, and kind enough to make him afraid for her safety. As the fire crackled and the wind howled beyond the walls, Alara wondered who she had truly brought back from the snow. And somewhere far beyond the forest, men were already riding, following a trail they believed ended in death. If this story has pulled you into its frozen mystery, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because what comes next will change everything. The riders arrived at dawn. Alara heard them before she saw them. Iron-shod hooves, controlled and deliberate, not the wandering pace of hunters or traders. Aaron was already awake, already dressed. already standing too straight for a man who had nearly died days before. The truth hit her then, sharp and undeniable. He was not just someone running from something. He was someone important enough to be hunted. She wanted to ask, to demand the answers she had been patient enough not to seek. But there was no time. The knock came heavy and certain. Ilara opened the door to three men cloaked in authority, their eyes cold, scanning past her into the cabin. They asked if she had seen a man matching Aaron's description. She told them no. Her voice did not shake. They did not believe her, but they had no proof. When they left, promising to return, Aaron exhaled like a man surfacing from deep water. He told her everything then. Not all at once, but enough. Aaron was not his true name. He was a commander, betrayed by his own council after refusing to carry out an order that would have burned villages like hers to ash, declared dead to avoid rebellion, hunted to ensure silence. He had fled wounded, bleeding, until the snow claimed him, until she found him. Ilara listened, heart pounding, realizing she had saved not just a man, but a secret powerful enough to reshape the land. "You should leave," she said when he finished, "before they come back." He nodded, but pain flickered in his eyes. Leaving meant drawing danger away from her. Staying meant putting her in its path. Neither choice felt right. The riders returned sooner than expected. This time they came with more men, with warrants and torches and certainty. Aaron did not hide. He stepped outside, standing tall, voice calm, authority rolling from him like a weapon. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Ilara watched from the doorway as realization spread across the soldiers. Faces, recognition, fear, confusion. Orders faltered. Lines broke. Aaron spoke of truth, of betrayal, of loyalty twisted into cruelty. Some men lowered their weapons. Others raised them. A shot rang out. Chaos followed. Ilara ran forward without thinking, shouting his name as a blade flashed. She did not see who fell first, only that Aaron remained standing, wounded but alive, while the remaining riders fled into the trees, their certainty shattered. In the aftermath, the forest felt different, lighter. Aaron collapsed to his knees, blood staining the snow once more. Ilara held him the way she had the first night, refusing to let the cold or fate or power take him again. This time he survived without question. Word spread faster than winter wind. Allies emerged from shadows. Truth followed. Aaron was restored, not to a throne of gold, but to a place of responsibility earned through sacrifice. He asked Ilara to come with him. She refused. Her life was here, but she did not say goodbye the way people usually do. They parted knowing they had already changed each other forever. Years later, travelers spoke of a ruler who governed with mercy, who never forgot the smallest villages, who outlawed the cruelty of unchecked power. Few knew why. Fewer still knew about the woman in the northern woods who once knelt in the snow and chose compassion over fear. Ilara still walked the forest paths, still respected winter, still watched the storms roll in. Sometimes riders passed and nodded in respect. Sometimes supplies arrived without explanation. And sometimes, when the snow fell just right, she thought of a half-frozen man and the life she gave him back. Not knowing who he was, but knowing exactly who she was when it mattered most.